Hello viewers, welcome to my orchid world. Last few days have been extremely hot in many parts of the world, as you may be knowing. Temperatures have gone to 38 degrees in my place. It has been very hot. It is very unbearable for us human beings, and so is for our precious orchids too. Humidity levels have gone down in many places, and in some places it has decreased to almost 15%. Our orchids require specific environmental conditions, as we all know, to thrive, and humidity is one of the most crucial factors that contribute to their well-being. Orchids are native to tropical and subtropical regions where humidity is naturally very high. For most orchids to grow properly, the minimum humidity required is at least 50%. There are certain orchids which can grow in less humid conditions, but the orchids that we generally buy from online nurseries or from orchid shops do need at least 50 to 55% humidity. These are the ones which you usually buy for our homes. When orchids experience less humidity levels, they show some signs which can indicate the change in their environment. So let us look at them one by one. Pseudobulbs are the swollen bulb-like structures that store water for the orchids. When humidity is low, these pseudobulbs will shrink or become wrinkled or even decompose and dry out. This indicates water loss from the orchids. The orchid tries to cope up with the surrounding dry weather and less humid conditions by shriveling the pseudobulbs and shriveling the canes. Orchid leaves typically have a smooth and turgid appearance when you touch them when the humidity is sufficient. However, in drier conditions, the leaves may appear dry, dehydrated, or develop brown edges. The leaves look very leathery, they are very papery, and may even fall off from the orchid. Orchids do shed leaves more frequently when exposed to low humidity. This is a survival mechanism of the orchid to minimize water loss through transpiration, because we know that transpiration occurs through the leaves from pores just located just below the leaf. So the orchid tries to shed the leaves and minimize the transpiration, that is the loss of water from the orchid. This way it tries to survive in the dry and less humid conditions. You can see the leaves are drying up, and the leaves have become, the base of the leaf has become brown and it's going to fall off. The tip of the leaves will start browning up, and it is gradually moving towards the base, and gradually the leaves will all fall off. Canes may show reduced growth in case of less humidity. The reduced humidity can slow down the growth rate of orchids too. In case of blooms, bud blast may occur. This refers to the premature dropping or drying out of the flower buds before they have a chance to open. It can be a response to low humidity, causing the buds to desiccate and fail to develop. The buds become shriveled and wrinkled, and this shows that the bud is not going to open, it is going to fall off. So you can see the buds that have become shriveled. Low humidity can affect the longevity of the orchid blooms too. Flowers may wither away and fade more quickly than usual, resulting in shorter bloom periods. This year, Phalaenopsis blooms in my orchid house have fallen off. All the Phalaenopsis orchids have shed their blooms prematurely, even before their normal blooming period. This has happened due to very low humidity and also dry and hot conditions. So you can see the leaves have shriveled up, the buds have fallen off. These are signs of low humidity. So does it mean we cannot grow orchids in less humid conditions? Absolutely not. We can definitely grow them in not so favorable conditions also. So to recreate this optimal environment, we can deploy certain methods which will help us increase the humidity of the orchids. And to maintain the ideal humidity levels, we can employ the following methods. Let us look at them one by one. Misting is a very simple technique and commonly used method to increase humidity around the orchids. By spraying the orchid with a fine mist of water around the plants, you can create a temporary boost in humidity. However, it's very important to avoid misting the orchid leaves, because if there is no air circulation proper directly, as this can lead to fungal and bacterial infections. Mainly focus on the area around the orchid. Using pebble trays is an effective way to increase humidity levels around orchids while minimizing the risk of overwatering. We can take a tray or a container and fill the container with a few pebbles up to say 2 to 3 inches, and fill the container with water or the tray with water just up to the level where the pebbles are there. You can take any container or any tray. Basically a container is more suitable because a tray, the height of tray is not much, and so a container is more suitable. Once you pour water, you can place your orchid pot on top of the pebbles. Make sure that the roots of the orchid do not touch the water. Just place it on the pebbles, and the roots, keep it in such a way that the roots of the orchid do not touch the water. This is in case where humidity is not that less, but lower than what is expected for the orchids. The water from the container will keep on evaporating and will provide the humidity to the orchid. And you need to keep checking if the water has dried up. If the water dries up, you need to refill the water, and in this way the humidity conditions around the orchid will improve. And once the atmospheric humidity resumes to normal, you can remove the orchid from the container. Species like bulbophyllums require more water than most of the other orchids. They do not like to be dry, and so this setup is very helpful for this kind of orchids, this variety of orchids. You can place them on the pebble trays all year round, and this is not going to harm them. One downside is that you may need to remove the media and replace it with new media. In areas where humidity levels are very low, like the one that happened for me a few days back, now monsoon has arrived, and so humidity levels have gone up. But few days back the humidity levels were very less. So what I did is take a container and fill it with water and place my orchids on the water filled container. I did not remove the orchid pot from the water, and this was the setup that I had used because it was very dry and the water evaporated very quickly, and it didn't harm my orchid, neither there was any root rot. On the contrary, new roots have developed in this orchid. You can see the previous canes which have become very shriveled. 3 or 4 canes, these are the older canes that are going to eventually dry up because they have become yellowish. You can see new roots have developed. One new cane has emerged after I have placed this orchid in the water setup. This is the cane that has not fully matured till now, but you can see the new shiny leaves. There are very healthy leaves. no signs of any dehydration. Once it matures, it is going to bloom for me. This has not bloomed for the last few years. I hope this year it will bloom because it has developed new roots which can take up water now. For areas where pebble trays do not work and the canes are still shriveled and the bulbs are not showing signs of improvement, you can take a plastic bag and put it around the orchid gently along with the pebble tray. Keep the pebble tray intact, keep the pot on the pebble tray and just tie the bag around the orchid together with the pebble tray and gently tie a knot around the orchid, not very tight and not very loose, so that a mini microclimate is created around the orchid. This setup traps the water vapor and creates a mini greenhouse for the orchid. This helps to trap the humidity, the water vapor that gets evaporated from the tray, pebble tray around the orchid, and it will provide the humidity to the orchid. This improves the humidity level around the orchid very much, and you can see signs of improvement in few days. You will see the canes have swollen up, the bulbs swell up, and once the atmospheric humidity resumes to normal, goes up, you can remove the plastic bag. Till the setup is there, keep checking the plant from time to time. Just open the plastic bag and check for any root rot, any fungus kind of developments, and if everything is okay, just tie back the plastic bag. Keep checking the atmospheric humidity, and so that once humidity level goes up, you can just remove the plastic bag and place your orchid back to your orchid house. Apart from the methods mentioned before, there are other setups also which are not very common. I have not deployed any of them, but yes, there are other methods also. Like, you can set up a terrarium, which is enclosed environment that naturally creates high humidity levels. You can also group your orchids together, which collectively will increase the humidity levels. Maintaining appropriate humidity levels is very crucial for your orchids. If you maintain the humidity levels, it will the orchids will reward you with exquisite beauty and captivating blooms. So hope you liked the video, hope it was helpful for you. Please share your comments in the comment box. Please give it a like and do subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.